If you were to ask me, Caleb, what is your favorite movie of all time? Absolute favorite. This would be it. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Oh, yeah! I know you guys have been waiting a long time for this review, and I just haven't wanted to do it because I wanted to watch it again, and it's like a 4-hour movie, because I always watch the extended edition. Always. And so I had to rewatch it, finally rewatched it, and then I finally got around to doing it, and The Hobbit's sneaking up on us quick, so I gotta get all 3 of these reviews out. So we're gonna talk about The Fellowship of the Ring today. Now, like I said, Fellowship of the Ring is my all-time favorite movie. I could watch it over and over and over again. Out of the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, they're all pretty much exactly tied, but because I saw The Fellowship first, it just has kind of stuck with me as my all-time favorite. This review is gonna be long, and it's gonna be completely spoiler-filled. So if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings and you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this review, because this isn't even like what's happening. It's going to just be what I think about the movie. So here we go. The Fellowship of the Ring starts out with that kind of background scene that shows how Middle-earth was formed. It's voiced over by Galadriel, which I at first thought was weird, but the more I watch it, the more I really liked it. And not many movies have a female voiceover that isn't, she's not even in the movie until like, 2.5 hours into the movie, then she finally shows up. So you don't even know who she is, but yet her voiceover is perfect because she was there when that happened, and it adds a lot. I really like the scene. When I first saw this movie, it was the most violent movie I'd ever seen in my life, and I did not see it in theaters. So I was about 11 and a half when it came out on video and I got to watch it. We all sat down as a family and watched it, and it was like epic. I mean, epic beyond proportions. Just this opening scene with the elves and that one scene when Elrond is sitting there and he tells him to fire and the bullet, ooh, I just about knocked my thing over, flies right past his ear. It like, that little bit has always stuck with me as that's how good the elves were at archery, and it kind of showed that. Then we get to the actual movie when it starts, and you see Bilbo writing down in his book about who hobbits are and everything. It starts explaining hobbits, and you gotta love hobbits. Hobbits are like the babies of the world in Middle-earth. They don't care about anything. Food and drink. That is literally all they care about. And pipe. Oh my goodness, pipe weed. They have to smoke. So that's literally all they care about. You see Frodo and Gandalf, when you first meet Gandalf, that, oh boy. That joke that he says, where he's like, a wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. He arrives precisely when he means to. And they like sit there and stare, and then they laugh. It's like, just the beginning of this movie is so good. It's like light humor, and the feeling is just, Hobbiton. You feel Hobbiton. You feel like you're there. And then Sam and Frodo get sent on their adventure by Gandalf. He says, okay, you guys gotta go to Bree. And on the way to Bree, one of my all-time favorite scenes is when the Nazgul, they first see the Black Riders. They're not Nazgul at this time, they're just Black Riders. And they're hiding under that tree branch, and the Black Rider gets down, he like puts his hands on the thing, he starts sniffing, and all the bugs are like crawling out of the wood and like out of the dirt, and everything's just, it's evil. You could just feel the evil. Bugs are running away. You know how evil that is. Then they throw the mushrooms and they get out of there. And they get to Bree. Actually, they don't get there yet. They run off. And then the ferry scene where these like Buckleberry Ferry, they get on it, get to Bree. Finally. Okay. This is like 3 minutes into this video and I have a lot to cover, so I better hurry. When they're in Bree and they first meet Strider the Ranger, you see him, he's over there smoking his pipe. He's like, and you don't see his eyes at all. They're completely covered. Or when he smokes his pipe, the tobacco at the end of his pipe lights up his face. You can see his eyes. And you don't know if he's a good guy or not. Unless you've read the book, of course. Which I had. But you still don't care. You're just like, man, this guy is awesome. I don't know who he is, but he's creepy. And then he grabs him and he takes him to that other room. And then the whole scene with the Nazgul where they come in and they stab the beds of the hobbits. And they're not there because Strider saved them. And it introduces who Strider is because he's smart, he knows what he's talking about, but yet you don't really know who he is at all. They start traveling, the whole second breakfast scene happens, the Nazgul attack Frodo on Weathertop, and the scene with Strider when he busts in and starts fighting those Black Riders at the top of Weathertop shows who Strider is. He is the BA of all BAs in movies. He is like so cool. I mean, a ranger is really the only way to put it. He is Strider the Ranger, and he fights like it. He's just wild, but yet effective. And the way when he throws that torch and it sticks in the Black Rider's face, I was like, glued to the TV. And I remember when Frodo puts on the ring and all those guys turn like white, I didn't look that first time I saw the movie. I was like scared to watch that scene because these guys were so creepy. Strider comes in, kills them all. Then you meet Arwen because she comes and takes Frodo off. That scene where the Black Riders are chasing her. Excellent chase scene. It was the Lord of the Rings equivalent to like, you know, a Bond chase scene or any other movie you've ever seen. It's their chase scene was Arwen with Frodo getting chased by the Black Riders. And they get to her land, the water wipes the Black Riders away. You think they're dead if you haven't read the books or seen the movies. And they're like, okay, they're dead. And then Frodo heals up. All the hobbits get there, you're like, oh, the movie's over, right? We haven't even gotten to the end of the first disc of the extended edition yet. There's a lot of movie left. So we finally get to the Council of Elrond. The Council of Elrond is one of my favorite, I keep saying these are one of my favorite scenes. It's because the whole movie's my favorite, but the Council of Elrond I will always remember. The whole way the conversation's going around, you introduce all the characters, Legolas, Gimli, Boromir, who I'm going to say is my favorite character in all the movies. I don't know why. I think it's because he's in the first one, and he was my favorite character in the first one. And so then, therefore, he has to be my favorite character in all of them. You realize who Strider is, that he's Aragorn, son of Arathorn, the king of Gondor, the heir to the throne. You get to learn who Elrond is, and just all these things. They build the Fellowship, and they leave. When the Fellowship is leaving, that scene where they kind of introduce all of them, they come over that rock, and there's like the two rocks, and they're walking through it, and this camera pans up and shows like each member of the Fellowship go through. You'll know what I mean if you see the movie, like, oh, that's the scene he's talking about. Excellent. Just an excellent scene to show these are who the characters are in their uniform and what they do. You could just tell each one by how they walked up that hill. You get to Caradros or Caradros or however you want to say that mountain's name. Saruman keeps like striking lightning at him. The storm, they decide to go through Helm's Deep. And Helm's Deep, really? The Mines of Moria. They decide to go through the Mines of Moria, and Gandalf doesn't want to go because he knows things are down there. They meet the Balrog down there. Some of the best fight scenes in this movie are in Mines of Moria. That whole scene with the troll is just awesome. When Gandalf's fighting the Balrog, you're like, wow, this guy is powerful. He's like, you shall not pass! And then you're like, okay, that did nothing. And then the Balrog steps and the whole thing falls. And then Gandalf gets pulled off the edge and he says, fly, you fools, and then goes. And you're like, no, Gandalf's dead! Because at this point, we had only read the first book up to this point. I was crying when he died. I was a very emotional movie watcher when I was little. Actually, I still am. They get to Lothlorien. You meet Galadriel, who I love Galadriel's character. I mean, I just love the character of Galadriel, who she is, and I'm really hoping they don't ruin her in The Hobbit with a love story. That's just what it looks like. I highly doubt that's what they're going to do, but hoping. They get all the gifts from Galadriel, and they go off, and the Uruks are coming. Saruman the White has created this army of Uruk-hai, which are like mega orcs on steroids, which can move in the daytime. They don't get tired. They just one mission and they go. And their mission is to capture the halflings. Find the halflings! Fellowship is on their way without Gandalf, which was huge because he was like their guide. They meet up with these Uruks. Fellowship is splitting. Boromir's tried to kill Frodo for the ring. Frodo gets away. And he goes with Sam. That whole scene where Sam runs out into the water and he knows he can't swim and he tries and gets to Frodo and he starts drowning and Frodo has to save him. It shows that Sam cares so much about Frodo and keeping his promise to Gandalf, because especially now that Gandalf died, that promise means a lot more, that he's gonna go with Frodo. He'll die getting to Frodo if he has to. And so it really showed that no matter what, Sam's there. Those two leave. You don't see them again till the next movie. Well, barely. So you see the battles between Aragorn and the Uruk-hai. That battle is so epic. When he's standing there, he has his sword and he flips it, and then he knows he's got to fight 80 or so Uruk-hai if he wants to live. And they just are rushing up the hill at him, and he just starts just laying them out, showing that he can fight these guys. He's not afraid to. He just keeps going at it after he'd already sent Frodo off, because that's a big deal that he denied the ring and said, go Frodo. Legolas and Gimli come in that scene. It's only an extended edition. There's a scene where Legolas shoots like 8 or 9 guys and always just like... It's like extended, because in the original version he shoots 3 guys, I think. And the extended it's like 9. It just keeps just shooting these Uruks. It's awesome. It's like the one extended scene that I remember that being an extended scene. Because I remember not having that in the first one. It was like epic. You hear the horn of Boromir, or the horn of Gondor that Boromir's blowing, and they go back and Boromir is just laying waste to these Uruks like Aragorn was. They're a lot the same when they fight. They're just mad. Boromir has 2 arrows in him, and he keeps going. He gets shot with the first arrow, keeps fighting, shot with the second arrow, keeps fighting, then he gets shot with the third arrow and he's done. The hobbits are captured, and then the fight between Lurtz, the big Uruk, and Aragorn is like the boss fight of the movie. Aragorn is fighting Lurtz, and Lurtz is destroying Aragorn. Lurtz has nothing to hold back. He just is wrecking Aragorn. Aragorn gets that thing pinned to his face, the shield, and he just slips out in time. Ping! In the middle of that fight, there's a spot where Aragorn pulls out his dagger and stabs Lurtz. This is only in the extended also. And Lurtz pulls out the dagger, licks off the blood, and throws it back at Aragorn. And it was just like, oh, like this guy will stop at nothing. He finally cuts off Lurtz's arm, he stabs him like, ha, he got him. And then Lurtz just grabs that sword and pulls it right to him. And then starts to like bite Aragorn. Aragorn pulls out the sword and cuts off his head. Whew. Finally beats Lurtz. And once that whole battle's over, you get the little, like, the king speech, if you want to put it that way, between Aragorn and Boromir when they're talking. Boromir's dying and he says, you know, lead our people. And he says our people, which is big, because Boromir was like, no, it's my kingdom, not yours. And he says, it's yours, save us, you know, do what you have to. And they send him off on his boat into the water. And they say, well, we will not abandon Merry and Pippin to torment or death. And Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas run off to chase Merry and Pippin. And that's the end of the movie. I love The Fellowship of the Ring. If I could, I would just have it playing all the time in the background. But unfortunately, I only have the Blu-ray edition. So it can't really be playing on my laptop. And that wouldn't really matter. The soundtrack, composed by Howard Shore, is, in my opinion, the greatest soundtrack ever made. It is so emotional. When I hear the soundtrack, I can picture everything that's happening in the movie. Everything. I can just be like, oh, that's when they're this, that's when they're that. He was such a genius when he composed this score. Everybody knows the music if you've seen the movie. And you're just like, you adore the music. It is so good. It's emotional, groundbreaking, phenomenal. This movie was nominated for 13 Academy Awards. I believe it won 5 of them, something like that. But 13 nominations, that's second most all time. There are 3 that have 14 and quite a few that have 13. And Fellowship of the Ring is one of them. So it's not just a fanboy movie, it's a quality movie. The cinematography is just outstanding though. I mean, it is unbelievable. The special features, there are 5 discs in the Blu-ray edition. I keep putting this upside down. There's 5 discs to each movie. So I have 15 discs. And the bonus features, I want to say 30 some hours each movie, at least. And I've watched all of them throughout my life because when we first got it, we got the special features and we just played them and watched them, and they are so interesting. You can watch the special features for 30 hours and not get bored. That's how good they are. And it explains so much about the making of Middle-earth and all that, and it's so intriguing. By far my favorite movie ever. That's what I think of Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I hope you guys liked this review. I will come out with my Two Towers and Return of the King's review before The Hobbit. I don't know when before. Hopefully before it, like, in the next week. Probably, I'll try and get them done by Sunday, the Sunday before the movie comes out. So that'll be my goal. Probably won't happen. Thank you for watching this review. I know it's been really long. Thank you for sticking with me. Let me know which one of the 3 Lord of the Rings is your favorites in the comments below. A lot of people say the Two Towers is their least favorite because of Treebeard and how slow it is. I honestly, all 3 are my favorite. Go watch it. If you're going to watch it for the first time, maybe not watch the extended edition, because there's so many more slower things that it doesn't make sense unless you've seen the movie. So maybe watch the extended edition second time through. But thank you again for watching. Subscribe to all the stuff below. Subscribe to my channel. Share this video with people if you want. You don't have to. And until next time, peace.